Hi guys, this is Rachel, the Modern Shaman, and I'm about to jump into a question and answer topic question. But before I do, I will say, just like I do on all of these videos, that if you'd like to connect with me personally, the best way to do that is through my website, which is themodernshaman.net, because I couldn't get .com, somebody else has it. But themodernshaman.net, again, it's the best way to connect with me if you want, to get a personal reading, or you just want to connect with me and kind of figure out what I'm about, where I'm going to be at different events, any way to basically connect with me. The best way to do that is through my website. And then also, if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you're welcome to do that, because I've got tons of videos on there that, just like this one, but other stuff that I've done over the past few months that you're welcome to view or kind of scan through and see what resonates with you. And also, I don't mention this in all of my videos, but I have a Facebook business page that's just the Modern Shaman. And you're welcome to connect with me on that. That is totally just kind of spirit-centric posts, stuff like this video, and uplifting little quotes, but it also has, again, different events that I'm doing, or kind of just none of my personal stuff. It's not like personal family photos or anything like that. It's fully focused on just spirit and my business with my psychic life coaching and shaman work. So if that's kind of why you're connected with me, then that's probably the best way to keep up with me on Facebook. And when you like that page, you have to put on there, you have to go on there and say "see first." If y'all, so it shows up in your news feed, because otherwise, for some reason, I don't know how Facebook's stuff works, but a lot of people tell me I liked your page, but I never see it. And I have it posts every 2 hours on this auto schedule that I fill out, so I'm always posting on there. It's just that if you don't see it, you need to go in your Facebook thing and put on there "see first," so that it's your default setting for your news feed. Anyways, okay, let's jump into the topic. So, where's my questions? Here we go. So the question that was sent to me, and I know I'm already running on 3 minutes here, but also I want to tell you guys, please keep sending these questions. They're awesome, and I really love knowing what y'all are interested in, because stuff that I'm into may not be what you're into, believe it or not. And I'm always surprised at what really resonates with people. Some of the posts and things that I think, that I'm really passionate about, or I think oh, this is so good and it's so relevant right now, people will be like, nah, not really connected to that. And then other ones that I think, oh, I did a crappy job of explaining that, or then everybody will be like, oh, that was my favorite one. So I am always surprised by spirit and where they take things and what y'all are into. So please keep sending these questions. You can just send them to me, private message me a question that you may have. And if it's really specific to you, I may kind of generalize it for the audience. But it's a great way for me, again, to address kind of in general. And then it's not like you're getting a paid reading. I'm kind of able to utilize your question in a broader sense, but also you're able to get answers and not have to, pay for a one-on-one session with me to get kind of direction in certain things. So send me those questions. All right, now we're going to jump into this one. So this one is about a post that I did previously that says you mentioned that I mentioned writing down events and things on paper. And they're just asking why you need to actually write them down to get rid of psychic blocks. I believe that is the post that they're talking about where I address this, because that one I didn't do that very long ago. It was probably last week or 2 weeks ago that I did that post about clearing psychic blocks, and one of the ways to clear them is to write these things out onto paper. Okay. why writing them out. So there is very powerful alchemy within paper. Not just paper, in all the elements really, but in particular, and maybe I'll talk about those other elements next, but in particular, when we write down things onto paper, we essentially are taking that energy, and like I said, I mentioned this previously in a video about unblocking your psychic blocks. And so those are energetic blocks that we have and we carry within our body, but they, on a subconscious level, on a conscious level, can keep us from being open to these extrasensory perceptions or, our psychic connections that everyone has. And so essentially, when we write events or we process emotions or we process these energetic blocks onto paper, we transfer that energy from being inside a certain chakra, inside a certain area in our body. We move it out onto the paper. And literally, paper is made from trees, as you know. I guess you could have used some other kind of paper, but traditionally, paper is made from trees. And trees have a very, just like in a symbolic way, a tree is rooted in the ground. It takes that energy and it roots it and it grounds it and solidifies that energy from coming out of your body into essentially the center of Mother Earth. That's the process that I see when I am moving energy out of a body and into the earth. Mother Earth is so great about storing our excess energy, or energy that we cannot hold all in this tiny little body that we have. Our human bodies are just not completely capable of carrying the fullness of our energy and sometimes the fullness of these energetic events. Or maybe we don't want to carry that energy. If it's a negative event or a negative memory, we may not want to carry that energy around. And Mother Earth is the great balancer of those things. So she takes that energy and nullifies it, balances it to where it doesn't have that same block within our own body. So in a very literal and in an also symbolic way, when we transfer the memory of those events, and I'm not just talking about the mental memory. When you're trying to get rid of a psychic block, you have got to let the emotional body come out, you've got to let the mental body come out, and you've got to let the physical body come out. And I've talked about this on previous videos too, that this is the key, that all of those parts of you have processed and released that blockage. So a lot of times we will write it on physical paper, and that may be your mental, but while you're doing that, you may be crying, you may be shouting, you may be just like getting it out on the paper, just putting all of the energetic power that's behind that event onto that paper. And it's literally transferring that energy onto the paper. You can use the red Sharpie marker, or you can, just write it in all caps. Or even if you're not writing it, maybe you're drawing it, or you're just just scribbling or circling these words or whatever it may be, just like getting it all out, cussing on the paper and just getting that event again out and processed. And you're transferring that energy onto the paper. That paper then essentially holds that energy for you and roots that energy, like I said, transfers it to the earth because it is made of a tree. And those trees have roots that have been grounded in the earth, that have been implanted into the heart of the mother. And she'll take that energy for you and balance it and recalibrate it, so to speak. Another thing that's with that is the physical body. Now, I kind of said that when I said when you're processing these events, you're like, getting it out. Literally, sometimes when I have, and I've talked about this before, when I process events, I will throw up. It's just, literally, that's just, sorry, I got those weird hairs. that's just me, but this is why a lot of times physical exercise is so good in also processing energetic blocks, because it is a physical release of this energy. And we need that. Our physical bodies need that because they're used to holding that pattern. They're used to holding that energy, and it may feel kind of empty without that blockage there, because you're used to having that extra weight of that blockage. So when you are processing these blockages, there needs to be a physical aspect to it, a mental aspect, and a spiritual aspect. Now, the mental can be just thinking through the memory, and the spiritual can be giving it over to the paper and asking Mother Earth to receive this energy, take it away from you, and to receive it and balance it and recalibrate it. And then the physical may be you sweating through the process, or you writing really rapidly, like your pencil's on fire, or like I said, with me, I tend to throw up. I do, like those blocks that I've had, I threw up. I think both times I cleared my major blockages. One time was like on a acupuncture table, like just on the table. And if anyone's had acupuncture, you know you don't want to move when those needles are in you, because it's like, it's not painful, but then when you move with the, you know, with the needles in you, it's painful. There's nothing worse than that. But you know, I can't hold it in when it's trying to come out of my body. And so I wouldn't recommend that you do. Even when I'm with clients and they start to cry, I'm like, let that through. Do not store that energy in your body. When you need to cry that out, if you're processing it, that's your body's way of physically releasing that energy. So let it go through. Good God, don't hold on to that energy anymore. It's trying to release itself. And that's part of the purification of those energetic blockages. So, alchemy of paper. And the physical, mental, and spiritual aspects of release. So making sure, again, that your emotional body is in alignment with what you're writing on that paper, that you're letting it channel through emotionally, having that freedom, and that you're physically also having the freedom. If you need to cry it out, if you need to throw it up, if you need to sweat it out, if it's making you all like, you know, sweaty about the process, those are good things. Those are good signs that you're physically aligned with what you are mentally and spiritually also communicating and releasing. I hope that answered your question. Sometimes I feel like I tangent on these things, but I just let Spirit take me where they're going to take me. And that's where they went. So, yeah. I love you all. Blessings.